There's 7 things on here I'm going to show you. I like to think logically about this. We don't like doing that in church. We like emotions and devotion and all that stuff, right? And our culture is getting worse. They're all about feelings and not thinking. So I want to show you how this works with the gospel in our culture, okay? Do you think everybody carries some guilt? Bless you. I know we're going to quote a Bible verse and say, well, Christ removed our guilt and now we're free. But as Christians, do you guys ever have any guilt you feel and shame? Oh, I know you. So, yeah, we're not supposed to, right? But this is a reality. This is what we're trying to teach here to get people to understand is the goal, the real goal in life is not to make a lot of money, have a nice house, and drive a good car, because you know what's going to happen. Somebody else is going to get them, right? So those things will last a little while, but they're pretty soon, actually, you buy a nice car, you love it, a year or so it gets dirty, carpets aren't that great, but you still have a payment, and it's like, why did I get this car, right? So these things are just temporary. But this isn't. Guilt and shame goes with you your whole life. It's a big deal. All right, step 1. Everybody has a moral code, everyone. I'm not saying it's biblical. We all have our own that defines right from wrong, right? And there's arguments in our culture right now about which one is right, but everybody has one. Would you agree? Most people, I had to put the word most in there, they feel guilt and shame when they violate their moral code. Not so worried about when they violate someone else's. But when they have a standard right and wrong and they break it, they feel a sense of guilt for breaking that code. Would you agree? I would love to have that removed. Nobody, even if it's their own, likes living with that. It's horrible. To live with the shame of something you've done, whether you're Christian or not. This is a universal situation for mankind, not for animals. They call it the Nature Channel when a lion eats a cub, when a killer whale eats a baby gray whale, because it's the Nature Channel. The killer whale doesn't feel guilt or shame out of murdering the baby gray whale. We're unique. We feel guilt and shame because of what we've done according to the code we have within us. You guys good? And most of us would say or do anything we could to remove it. We would. There's nothing, I always talk about this phrase, young people want justice, old people want mercy. Do you know why old people want mercy? We've lived longer and we've screwed up more. We have more things we feel guilty about, right? I can think back to old girlfriends in college, for crying out loud. I don't know why these memories come up. It's terrible. Or things I've done that I know are wrong, and I wish so much I didn't have those anymore, right? We all have that. And all of us, if there was a way to remove them, to say or do something, we would. The problem is, once you fail morally, you can't undo it. You can't unscramble the egg. It's yours. You follow me? This is life. This is it. This is why those terrorists flew the planes into the Twin Towers. They were promised the things that hung over them, their sin, their guilt, because they couldn't appease Allah. They could, by doing this act and committing suicide and murdering all those infidels, they'd be forgiven. It's terrible. So those are the first 5 of how your guilt and your shame ruins your life. And other people don't even see it. But then something happens. Something that's provided by God. The first one is He pays for that. It's what He does. And He doesn't wait for you to say it's okay. He doesn't go, hey, Ed, I got an idea. I'm thinking of dying on the cross, but I just want to know, are you going to be okay now when I die on the cross that your guilt, you're going to accept my payment for that, right? And then he goes back to the Father and says, you know, we got this weird thing going on. It's kind of like Biden's, his approval rating. We only have 31% of everyone we talked to who said my death on the cross would really mean something. All right, son, maybe we better think of something else. What God does is he doesn't care what we think because he loves us anyways. This is the weird thing about his love. It has nothing to do with what we say or whether we are interested in it. It's crazy. He does it for us for one reason only. He has a love for us that we cannot have for other people. And by him doing that, he actually removes it. He removes my failures. Whether we accept it or not doesn't matter. He has removed our guilt and shame and given us a life where we're no longer subject to that. So when we feel it, you know what, this is a mean way of saying it, God basically says, that's your problem, it's not mine, because I've forgiven you, it's gone. You no longer carry that anymore. It's the greatest thing going. It's unbelievable, okay? So what you have is the gospel showing his love for me by removing the guilt and shame that I carry as a burden all my life. Removing it. And the only way he can remove it is if he decides to bring you in his family. You can't have it removed unless you're in his family. That's the condition. That's repentance. That's wanting what he has to offer, and then you get it. From eternity, not from a reaction by praying for it. He's always had this available to you. It's been a gift all along. Does this make sense? We don't think this way. This is what he's already done. This is why he wants you to share, and we're afraid to. And I'm like, look at what you get. Why don't you tell people this stuff?